the social unit must understand that it has a relationship with anxiety, and the legal process for effectively elevating the anxiety of individuals within the system. The anxiety elevation process is the result of a sequence of communications which indicate that a political unit is either receptive to certain types of alerts and signals or not. This selective filtering is a kind of key, and detection of the shape of this key is one of the components of understanding the racial background of an individual, as well as things we think like loyalty. But that's debatable, because in order to understand loyalty, you have to understand the Ward deontology of individuals who are not embedded in systems which are at war with each other in a way that is simple and accessible. They're at war with each other in a way that is subtle, and where the rules are both unknown and there is also some ethical precedent, where the boundaries and the nature of the contested area is mostly contained in ideas surrounding wealth, technology, the future, and family, which is I would say, very British or European, or perhaps Dune style political, medieval political knights in shining armor, maidens in pointy hats type of fantasy, instead of a modern, disorganized, democratic system which views the suppression of the traditional political system as a imperative and as a necessary evil. Since you have to keep baby safe in order to make sure baby doesn't interfere with your work, which is a problem when baby is worried that your work is going to have a negative impact on baby. So this arrives at a point. If we take the baby as the monarchy, or the traditional system of monarchies, then on the one hand, the inferior political systems must be understood as the progenitor of a superior political system, which has a variety of processes and regulation principles that give it the ability to motivate and control the moral landscape of individuals who are bound up in basic research in education, mathematics, philosophy, religion, and sociology. So it is a simple function that is involved in the process of teaching and learning, which is a give and take process. You may think, here you're watching a YouTube video, 15 minutes into it, and you're wondering, when is my attention going to give way? When am I going to decide that I've heard enough? And how am I going to organize a sharing of knowledge, or an economy of knowledge, or a trading of knowledge with this person? Because the ethical insights don't seem to have any bearing at all on the sort of basic social principles of give and take and exchange. So Kant brings this up. He talks about not using other people as tools, not using them as means to your own end. Don't be evil. Maybe don't be evil, but 200 years before Google. So this is a basic moral principle. The problem is that people are perfectly happy to use each other for all kinds of things and for all sorts of purposes. It's done all the time at multiple levels of society in a variety of complex ways that boggle the mind, and very often can lead to some of the most exciting and tantalizing science fiction. So there is a conflict here between moral philosophy as a tool that is seen to limit the creative expression of science fiction authors versus the alternative, which is that science fiction authors can use their work to guide the global conversation on moral philosophy and what is counted as moral and what are understood to be moral imperatives. That's dangerous because it suggests provocatively that mob mentality can be replaced with a different sort of consciousness that is not based on the deontology of anxiety and reflecting and amplifying anxiety, which is a kind of social nuclear reaction. If you look at the basic understanding today of the motivating principles of Freud and Bernays, you'll find individuals who are afraid of mobs, primarily, because they don't understand them as social nuclear reactions, because the nuclear theory in physics had not been developed to provide the social scientists with a language which could be used to design models of social interaction. So, the language becomes political building blocks that can be used to construct artificial worlds in which moral philosophy is seen as the basic power source or linkage between these networks of universes, which are either hierarchical in nature, that is, universes within universes, all connected through a system of moral philosophy, which is this basic ethical principle, as well as the idea of the other, which is the notion that when there is no conscious perception of a war-type situation, as during times of peace, there is the opportunity to understand the way in which the myths of a society either allow or deny communication from political units that are not of those who were involved in the resolved war. That is to say, new political units that may become active in the far future. Knowledge of these political units gives one side or the other in a resolved war an advantage of time and survivability in the event of fighting the next war, which would happen if a political solution could not be found. A political solution, in this case, means a comprehensive interface between societies on multiple levels: economic, political, religious, moral, and many other.